We'll call this committee of the whole meeting to order on August 25th, 2020 at 7 p.m. And before we do the Pledge of Allegiance, a couple more individuals passed away this past week. The first was our partner in government, Chuck Rubin, over at the county board, a man that was the chairman of the board. He was the current finance chair and had served the county well for over 20 years. So we'll say a moment of silence for him. And former Governor Jim Thompson passed away as well. So a moment of silence and then the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, first up is public participation. And our first speaker is Mayor Seth Goodman, and he'd like to speak about the balloons over 66.
Yeah, so there's a lot of details I could discuss about this, but I'm just going to kind of mention a few things, and if anyone has any questions, as you're probably all aware, there will be now 25 balloons that will be in town Friday through Sunday morning. So flights are Friday night, Saturday morning, Saturday evening, and some will stick around and fly Sunday morning and maybe Sunday evening as well. So for anyone interested, there are paid rides available still this weekend. They can reach out to myself. There's a group on Facebook. It's called Lincoln, Illinois Balloons Over 66 Weekend. All the information is there. Balloons are at 8 different launch and glow sites, one of them being City Clerk and Alderman Bateman's house. And those are all also listed as well on the Facebook page. And we're doing that to kind of make sure that everyone stays distanced from one another and so forth. So each spot will have 2 to 4 balloons. And there are several things going on at the Oasis Saturday as well. They have like a chicken lunch, and there's a vendor fair. And then the Masonic Lodge is doing a biscuits and gravy from 7 to 10. And I believe that's a drive-through out there. So like I said, we'll have 25 pilots in town. They'll be staying at Comfort Inn and Suites. And the Oasis is doing a brunch for them as well Saturday morning. So we really appreciate all the Oasis is doing. And we were going to have a pilot dinner Friday night, but due to COVID and all of that, we have purchased gift certificates for all the pilots to 25 pilots throughout different restaurants in town to kind of give them, a flavor of everything that Lincoln has, so they can be separated and also support the businesses and restaurants as well. So, does anyone have any questions about the weekend or anything?
Do you still need help crewing?
So there are pilots that will need some crew, and they're very specific, obviously, this year that we got to make sure people know they do need to have a mask on at all times, and it will be warm, as they will be in confined spaces. But yeah, if anyone's interested in crewing, we have some pilots coming here from quite a ways. Actually, we have one here from New Mexico and some from several other states as well. So we want to make sure that they have help. Most of them are covered, but we could always use a few extra hands. So if anyone is interested in crewing, they can reach out to me as well, or just send a message to the event or group page on Facebook or social media. So, but hopefully the weather cooperates and we get to fly several times and put on a good show for Lincoln. I think a lot of people are excited, and we just ask the public to please stay back and watch from a distance if we can. A lot of people have asked me where should they go to watch them. It really depends on which direction the wind is at the time of launch, and obviously it is all weather permitting. And each pilot, it's totally up to their discretion whether or not they're comfortable flying at each launch time. So we can't really promise that they will go off at each designated launch time, but we will keep updated the group so people will know what's going on. So like I said, there are 8 different spots, so you should be able to see them from anywhere in town. So any other questions? Okay.
Just a thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for all you do for this.
Yep. We're excited about it. And like I said, hopefully it all goes well and we can continue doing this for years to come. So that's it. Thank you very much. Thank you. Guys have a good night.
You too.
Thanks, Seth. The band Friday night, yeah. So that is a good point Alderman Bateman brought up. And we've spoke about this on the floor before, but we had contracted bands for Third Fridays, And when the Third Friday Committee made a decision to cancel those events for safety purposes due to COVID, Spirited Republic, we reached out to them and we had conversations, and so they took over the contract for the band, and they will be performing Friday night. That's Harmony Grits. So if you've heard them play at Third Fridays before, they're really good and always entertaining. So I believe their hours are 6 or 7 to 10 o'clock, and we did approve a road closure for them several weeks back. So if you're out Friday after you've watched the balloons and you want something to do, head downtown and practice safe social distancing down there. Be courteous to the staff, respect the rules that they have to follow, and be safe. Okay, moving on, item number 4, we're gonna go ahead and remove from the agenda for tonight. I had a conversation with that individual today, and I will, bring this back to the council at a future date. So, item number 4 removed. Item number 5 is the mayoral appointment of Emily Schreiber to the Civil Service Commission. So, this is a request that I'm asking the council to approve. We had an individual on the Civil Service Commission, but they weren't able to make it very often. And this is a crucial time for that commission because we're trying to get the assistant superintendent position filled out at Streets and Alleys. They're going through a lot of work to get that testing process vetted and things of that nature. So we've decided to replace that individual with Emily Schreiber. I've had conversations with her. She's very excited to fill that role. So would ask the council to consider this.
Consent agenda? Yeah.
Consent agenda? Okay, thanks. Next up is the mayoral appointment of John Mauman and Eileen Mullins to the Economic Development Grant Program Commission. There is also another name on here that failed to make it on the agenda. It was an oversight on our part, and that is Sonny Alexander. Sonny has been part of that team from the beginning, and the intention was to continue to have her on. I think we overlooked it because we have been working with her so much on that. So placing on the agenda, if the council agrees, it will be John, Sonny, and Eileen to that Economic Development Commission. Consent agenda? Okay, thank you. Next item up is the approval of new pole and installation, cost totaling $1,305.92 for new outdoor warning device. Chief Donosky?
Yeah, this is what I brought up to you last week. I'm just asking for it to be moved forward so we can finish the project, or keep the project moving and eventually get it finished. So, pretty self-explanatory.
Any questions for Chief? Okay, regular agenda?
Yes.
Okay, thanks, Chief. Next item up is the resolution for improvement under the Illinois Highway Code for Heitman Drive. Walt, do you want to speak about this one?
Yes, basically this is just a solution that we send through the state that allows us to spend the money from the Rebuild Illinois Fund. It's basically them giving us permission to use that money towards this project.
Any questions for Mr. Landers? Regular agenda?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Walt. Next up is the resolution establishing a 3% raise in salary for the city administrator. Discussion on the topic? Okay, regular agenda?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And I do want to say before we move on to that one, that percentage that we put in there, I know that I've received a question or two on it this week. The the city administrator did go through a performance evaluation with the council, and those results that she received compiled from the council warranted that 3% raise that we had budgeted, and so that's why this was placed on the agenda. Okay, moving down to the next item is the Union Pacific Railroad invoice in the amount of $678.38. Ms. Cavalman, do you want to speak about this one?
Yes, I know we've talked about no more funding, no more payments of anything on anything with the Fifth Street Road project until we get the land acquisition taken care of. But this was for work performed by the Union Pacific Railroad prior to that decision or statement being made on July 6th of the city council meeting. So this was back from April, and as we mentioned, they are not real swift on getting the bills to us, but this was from that period of time. It was review regarding the account material, the estimate.
Alderman Keller.
Thank you, Mayor. So Administrator Calvelman, does this complete for Union Pacific, this completes what we need to pay them for and the work that they have done for the project and anything else that they are yet to do as well, if considering this moves forward?
No, of the 249,100, I'm not sure about what the amount is. I can't remember, but it's 290,000, whatever it was that we approved. That it was the estimated of cost it would be for when they start construction. Prior to drawing up of the plans and everything, we will not. The city council agreed not to pay for any of that until actually we have finished the land acquisition purchase. Then we will start with that phase, and they will do the railroad, that spur, Havana Spur along there with the rest of all of the Fifth Street Road project. This bill right here was from prior to that to both engineering, the Union Pacific Railroad engineer, as well as the gentleman who is the lead consultant that came in and checked that out prior to that. Did a review of the
Thank you.
program.
Just to follow up on that then, Beth.
Mm-hmm.
So you said that they wouldn't bill us until the land acquisition occurred.
Yeah, of that 200, is it 278, 209? I'll have to go look.
So if the land acquisition doesn't occur for another 5-10 years because of lawsuits and all that, are they still good with that?
I'm assuming so. I was hoping we wouldn't wait that long, but
Well, no, it's not that we're
Right.
waiting that long. It's just that I'm
Right.
thinking there'll be lawsuits,
Right,
for
absolutely.
eminent domain and all that type of stuff.
I haven't gone into that kind of a time frame with them, but we were adamant about it July 6th when you passed that account estimate, material account estimate. So I would assume so, yes, but I can check if you want me to, but before now and Monday. But they're pretty much, I told them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was that forced agreement that we had approved recently. We'd have to go back and look at what that term is on how good that estimate is. That's the reason why we wanted to push it through, even though we knew that we were still in land acquisition phase, so that we could lock in that price. Because I believe when we started, I don't have the documents in front of me, but that price actually took a significant jump from the last time we had that discussion, or the city did. It wasn't this council. So that's why we tried to lock that in. I asked Beth about that this afternoon, about this particular bill, and the fact that it came in prior to the council directive not to spend any more money was satisfactory to me, that we should go ahead and pay this one. And she has conveyed to Union Pacific the council's position on this matter, so hopefully we won't see any more of these come through until we reach that point. Okay, so regular agenda for that one?
Yes.
Next up is expanding the scope of the 4th Street, Decatur Street overlay project. Mr. Landers.
Yeah, I guess scope really isn't a good term, but limits maybe. After we had our pre-construction meeting on August 13th, between the contractor, representatives Farnsworth and myself, after further inspection of the western limit of that project at Maple Street, that intersection is in pretty bad shape. Originally, the contract included up to that intersection to the eastern side. So what we'd like to do is go ahead and include that whole intersection to the west side where the concrete pavement starts on 4th Street. The estimate given here of $4,700 for the increase in the work is an estimate, but it could vary a little bit, but may not be exact. So I think it's for the betterment of the project, I think it would be a good idea if we go ahead and expand the limits of this work.
Any questions for Walt? Jeff?
Yes, thank you. Walt, this is Jeff Heineke, should we put a not to exceed price on this, so it just isn't an open end? Or you think it's not gonna vary that much, or?
Basically, they use the unit prices that the contractor had given in the contract. I could ask them for a not to exceed price if that's what the council would like.
I just like that instead of just an open-ended thing. I understand it's just a short distance, it's not that much, but I just don't want it to come back for some reason double or something.
So then,
The one thing we need to consider is, and I don't think that this work will have to take place before the council meeting on Monday, because initially they have to do the concrete removal and the sidewalk and curb work first. This basically is just pavement work, so it would take place after that, but it could be a situation where I can't guarantee that it wouldn't take place before Monday's meeting.
so can you get us a not to exceed amount for the agenda for next week?
Yes.
Alderman Bateman?
Didn't you say, Walt, it was like $4,700?
It's an
Yes,
estimate.
That's the estimate that they gave, that the engineers gave
So
for the additional work.
so why don't we just make a not to exceed $6,000? In case they find something wrong, that gives them a little leeway. And, if they get in there and can get it done before we meet, then we're not standing around, as long as they can do it for that or under.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
I don't have any concerns with that. Walter, you okay with that?
I think so.
Okay. So Peggy, can you make that note on the agenda for next week? No, the week after next, yeah. Okay, so we'll place that on the regular agenda then.
That's part of the reason I brought that up, is
Yeah.
because it's actually 2 weeks away. So if they can get it done, then let's get it done instead of
Right.
waiting on slow government.
Regular agenda then. Alrighty. Next up is the proposal for codification services with general code. Peggy or Beth, did you want to speak about this one?
We feel that we need to move in a different direction on the codifiers. I don't know how long the city had Sterling, but they were bought out by American Legal, and our ordinances aren't being put on a very quick fashion. So the public looks up and things that you've passed, and it's not there. City attorney, city attorney has found, he's looking for things, and he's like, why isn't it there? Because he knows it's passed. So we had a demonstration. Beth and I saw the demonstration twice, and this past week, Tracy and city attorney sat in on the demo. Very impressive. We think it'll be a lot easier for the public to look for things. So this is our request to see if we can switch.
Yeah, so, Beth, did you want to go ahead? Go ahead and first.
What I was impressed too was, well, the timeliness and how fast it would be, but also it's going to be public friendly. They can get on there and look till their heart's content, find whatever they want, pretty much. And I think they'll be very happy with that.
Yeah, so a couple of, and they're correct, it's a pretty remarkable system compared to what we have now. Some of the things that I personally liked about it was that there's a couple sides of the administration to that tool, and one is for the public use to search code, and it gets published a lot faster than we're seeing now. So when we pass an ordinance, it's not up to a year before it gets out there. It's within a couple months. I think they told us 4 to 6 weeks tops. So that's a huge plus. That's even a benefit for us aldermen who have to reference code we recently put in. One of the other neat features that I thought was great was a functionality that's available for internal users of the system. So lately we've talked about chickens and things of that nature. And in doing that research, we have to look at other municipalities to kind of gauge where we're at. Cannabis was one of them. And I know you guys did some research and you go out to a website and you look and you make some phone calls. What's really cool about this system is that you can plug in those terms and you can search any other municipality that is serviced by general code. You can see what they have in their database. And it's not just code, it's files and things of that nature. And so there's a couple other really cool pieces to that we looked at this week. And it will allow us to do things like put project files out there. So whenever we're having discussions about, Fifth Street Road or Union Street, anything that's available to the public, we can put in this public files library. And when they perform searches, that type of stuff comes up in there. So we think there's an opportunity here to really expand the services that are provided to the city and kind of get them all pulled into one centralized database that's friendly for us and friendly for the community. And the cost estimate on this one was in the packet. So there's going to be some upfront costs for them to do a conversion. And the conversion, unfortunately, isn't as simple as they get a file from Sterling. They're going to have to, do something called screen scraping. They're going to have to actually manually type in some of the stuff to get their database built for us. So there's a cost involved in that. Beth, I think overall, wasn't it a couple $1,000s for the first year and then $995 each year going forward?
Right, yes, it's gonna be $2,240 for an annual fee, and then it was from then on would be $995 that we pay per year. Correct, Peggy?
Correct. Well, the 2,240 would be up front for the
Yes.
conversion.
Mm-hmm.
And the
And-
amount that we're paying Sterling right now is what?
We're paying $500 a year right now for Sterling, and we're paid up through January 31st of 2021. So if we go with this, if we can get converted over by then we're good to go on Sterling. We won't have to owe them anything else, I wouldn't think.
Okay. Beth?
Real quick, I just wanted to add too that I really liked that bulk upload, that it would just take whatever we were working with Sterling codifiers, move it over, and it was only, but it's $250, but for that's a big thing to do. And as well as I loved the link part, that it would link you from when you get into something, it would link you to all these other different places.
Treasurer Conzo?
Thank you, Mayor. Just one question. I probably should have thought of this sooner when you were talking about this, but with Sterling in the past, we would receive paper copies of the city code, and then we'd get the updated portions as they changed. They haven't been doing that in the last couple of years, I guess they're, for a number of reasons. Will we receive printed copies with this company as well?
My understanding is we'll get one per year, and then if we need additionals, we can request those.
And they'll send us the updates then too?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I think they said that we'd get one set, and then we can make our own copies for however many books we have. Which
I see.
is-
However we want to do it.
Yeah.
Mr. Hoblet?
I know that we've been making reference to several terms here of what we liked and what we think it'd be beneficial. I think we're pulling that from the presentation we saw, which to the rest of the council, you guys didn't see. So there might be some confusion as to what we're making reference to when we say what we liked and what we think is going to be good. But suffice to say, from what it appears that the what General Code is proffering will be much more web friendly. The search terms we're essentially citing here is that essentially it operates in a more modern capacity from which you would have certain expectations. I believe it's more mobile friendly as well. That for someone they could actually put in search terms and actually come with a cognizant result back to as well. So those are essentially a big boon for us. And I believe one of the many, because if you just go to the Sterling, our webpage for our city code and just look at it, it just feels antiquated. It feels like a website from the late 90s / early 2000s. So I believe this would be, not to disparage Sterling as we sit here and talk about them, but we're in the market for a new provider, and I believe this would be a good fit.
Mr. Keller.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, so I'm impressed too. I think you all said what I was going to say. I've taken the opportunity to go to some of the other towns that currently use this particular program, and it's very impressive. I love how several of you said this, how you can link one thing to another. Like, for instance, if it talks about zoning, it press on it and it goes to your city map, which is just so user-friendly. In the day and age where I think our constituents are looking for government to be easy to use and responsive and accountable and transparent, I think this goes a long way to doing that. Couple questions on this. I know that what you're looking to seek is not the basic package. So could one of you explain? And I'm not questioning your decision, because I think we should go with the package that you've decided. But I know there was a cheaper basic entry level cost, and then there's an added cost to some of the other components. So could you explain what some of those other components are that we're buying into if we decide to go that route?
So I'm looking at the packet, and it's on page 5.
Right, and it wasn't really clear to me exactly what all that could do for us, so that's why I asked that question.
Yeah, so download the PDF is an option that that people will have, so that it's just what it says. You can download that piece of code to a PDF file. New laws indicator. So if you are reviewing search results, there's a little indicator that will be put up there that will indicate to somebody that something new has changed. So it's just a way for people to identify, hey, maybe I should look at that because something's changed recently in there. Advanced search, it is exactly what it says. There are some advanced search capabilities that are not available to people that use the standard package. I don't have a list of what those are in front of me. Customizable titles. I don't believe that we went through that in the demonstration. But I was going to bring this up. The e-alert is, in my opinion, a huge, huge service to the community. So if I'm a user, I can go out to our city website, and if I want to know anytime that a building and zoning code changes, I can tag those pieces of code, and now anytime they change, I'll get an email or an alert as to that. It's really good for contractors and people that need to stay on top of it. I mean, in its basic form, if somebody wanted to pay attention to our chicken ordinance that just got passed and see if we change it in the future because they got chickens, then they can get those alerts too. And then public documents module. So that goes back to what we were talking about earlier. That module is not available to regular users. And I think that to me, the e-alert and the public documents module, in addition to how nice that system really is and user-friendly it is, that public documents module, I think, opens up a lot of possibilities for this organization to be more transparent and putting things out there. When City Administrator Johnson was here, he and I had talked about a repository online where we could upload documents, so that if people said, tell me all the stuff going on with the CSO project. Well, if we're doing our part and we're putting documents out there, the public can search on those. The information's only as good as what we put out there, but it will really expand those possibilities for the organization. Did that help?
It helps, and actually, I do have, yeah, that helps very much. So thank you, Mayor. And when it comes to the public documents, I'm assuming we're going to be using that to upload all of our documents. But I know sometimes when we receive the packet, it's in a PDF format, but it's not you can't manipulate it. Like if I want to do a search through all the agendas, it doesn't allow. I don't know, however it's scanned. So is there a way that this can be scanned and put in this? So if I want to go back and see when did we talk about a particular aspect of Fifth Street, it'll be able to pull up the different agenda and meeting minutes for all of those times that we did discuss those things.
It won't. It is possible. It won't just by uploading it, tie it together. But what we can do is we'll put our agendas out there and publish those. And then when the meeting minutes get approved and they get uploaded, we can go into that agenda and provide a link over to the meeting minutes. And I suppose if we really wanted to get fancy with this, we could probably also link out to an external source such as YouTube or Facebook to the meeting itself, so that you could review that meeting. An example that I gave when we were in that demonstration was, it just so happened that particular day, somebody asked me, who was the individuals that were on the council when the TIF was created? Well, I would encourage you guys to try to figure that out in under an hour right now. So I had to go to newspaper articles. I had to scour through them. I had to go through, well, that was just to pinpoint the date. And then I came into our system with the date, and then I was able to find the agenda, and it didn't have all the details in it, and I finally found the information buried. This system, if we use it properly, will make that so much easier for everybody. That's the key word. We have to use it properly.
Thank you.
Welcome. Any other question? Beth?
I just wanted to add too that I think it'd be really efficient because I think it will cut down on FOIA requests as well of the city. I think people will feel more empowered. They can get on there and search through it and find things on their own without having to come ask the city.
Yep, I'd agree. Peggy, do you have anything else?
No.
Okay,
Regular agenda.
regular agenda then? Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, moving into announcements. The first item up here was placed on by Chief Donofsky. Chief, did you want to speak to us about this one? He's probably walking in.
Yeah, he's coming.
Whatever's in your packet is the only copy, because I didn't save a copy for myself, so.
Mr. Bateman?
So I've been on this a couple times. So it's quite big, and just recently they've added a lot more vehicles. Jeeps are allowed and stuff now. It's open to any vehicle, but it is quite impressive, and I ask anybody that would like to participate that they should. And it shows great support for the first responders in memory of the 9/11 event, and it's always been a good time each time I've gone.
Yeah, for those that are going to be watching this video or are now, the item is the Ride to Remember 9/11 parade. And it's on Sunday, September 13th.
Yeah, lineup is at 9 o'clock at Hall's Harley Davidson. The procession leaves at 10 o'clock and heads down to the memorial site on the state capitol grounds.
Okay, any questions? Okay, thanks, Chief. Next up, Walt, did you want to talk about the area cleanup?
Sure. Actually, I have a pretty good list up here to update on.
Okay.
The sidewalk project has pretty much been encourage anybody to go by the corner of Sheridan and Pekin Street by Washington Monroe School and see the work that they did that was associated with the little bit of extra money we spent on the brick replacement. I think they did a very excellent job, and I think that's worth noting. The scarification oil and chip project got underway Monday. The scarification part of that project is all completed. Depending on weather, they may start putting prime oil down tomorrow, and could possibly start oil and chipping by Wednesday or by Thursday and Friday. There's some weather in the wet weather in the forecast, so that may put a little damper on the project because it is weather sensitive. As far as that project goes, we had to remove one block of Gillette Street that was in the project to accommodate the limit, the extension of the limit on Wyatt Avenue and Prim Road, which the work we're doing there is associated with some upcoming work next year, we hope. To stay under budget there, we had to eliminate a target, which was Gillette Street, to be able to stay within our contract prices there. So the Gillette, 100 block of South Gillette, we will try to work on that ourselves and do some patching and stuff to carry it over to a future project. The mill and overlay project is hopefully they were talking about starting removals of sidewalk and curb this week. We're getting toward the end of the week here, so I'm not sure if that's actually going to take place. We've been in contact with the principal at Carroll Catholic there to make sure that they understand what's going on and trying to make things safe for the kids, and that we do our work there that's in accordance and something that they approve of within the limits. An update on the city cleanup. The city cleanup will take place. It's a city drop-off cleanup just like it was last year. It'll take place here at the Lincoln Municipal Services Building, the Street Department Building Safety Office on 313 Lemon Street. You can look for more information coming out about that in the sewer bills to come out soon. There will be some information in the bills regarding that. One thing that you must remember, your account must be in good standings with area disposal to be able to take advantage of that. So if you do have some issues there, I would advise to get those taken care of so you can participate in the cleanup. I think I'm done.
Okay, thanks, Walt. Chief Adams, you had an item that you wanted to speak about?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So, I should have got this on the agenda, however, it's a project that was kind of moving slowly, and all of a sudden it just has a lot of fire behind it now. So, we have contracted with New World Technologies since 2008, so just bring everybody up to speed. With the Sheriff's Department, they use the dispatching software, which is called CAD, Computer Aided Dispatching. The city uses the LEARNS product that gives us our record system. Then you also have the jail that uses the corrections portion of this software that y'all use. Now, we bought this back in 2008. So the hope was we'd be able to afford going to mobile and having a mobile application in the car so officers could have quick access to things, be able to do reports remotely, so if they need to go to a small theft report, they can get that done out there in the field rather than come all the way back to the station to do those reports. However, the yearly maintenance has always been kind of a stickler on this because it's always been going up, and they've been wanting a 4% increase over the last few years. We've negotiated them down to a 3% increase, but they're currently at $41,000 for total maintenance. So we started looking out at other software companies, and because we can't continue to afford these type of rates, especially when they just hit us the $200,000 upgrade that we would have to do. Of course, the software is for free since we've already bought it, but it's all their services that's going to cost us $200,000 ETSB, Will County Sheriff's Office, and the city of Lincoln to try to pay for this $200,000 upgrade. So rather than do that, we started looking for other software companies. So, well, then it was surfaced to us that what we could do instead of actually hosting our own service, our own server, and taking care of this ourselves is actually participate with another county to help save costs. I guess they're doing this up in the Chicagoland area, down in the St. Clair area, Madison County, I believe, is doing it also. Several counties in the state are already moving to this type of system. So they said that Sangamon County has the full board. They have all the software packages, all the mobile applications, all the field reporting. They even have fire reporting, everything that you could ask for, they've got. So the question was, how much is it going to cost us? So for us to jump on board with them, our maintenance would go from currently the city pays $13,666.67, which is what we just paid. We would go down to $1,667 per maintenance, which is a huge savings on a yearly basis. Now, we will have to pay for some mobile application licenses. That's $5,299. And we'd also have to pay for services to get us set up for Sangamon County, and our share of that would be $15,948. So our total first year payment would be $21,238, including $1,667 for the maintenance. We can also add fire to that, which would be $13,500. But if rural fire also goes on board, that would be split between us and the county on that too. So, but there's no yearly maintenance fees for that fire software because it's included with Sangamon County's fire. So it would be free after that. So our maintenance would still stay at $1,667. Unless we added mobile applications to the fire, then it may boost it up. So if they wanted, let's say, reporting in their rigs, which doesn't come with that, there would be an additional cost for that. So I'd like to put it on the council. The sheriff's department, the Will County has moved forward to and voted to go with Sangamon County for our services, and ETSB has made that vote this last Wednesday to go forward on that. So it's up to us to move forward if we want to move forward with this. I think it's a huge savings. We are going to lose some control in regards to our say-so on things because we won't have a say on what the software does. It's going to be up to Sangamon County on what and how that software operates. But we do have some customizations that we can do, and given my knowledge of what's going on, I can probably get it geared the best we can for our agencies. So I'd like to just put that on the council, on the agenda to move forward to move with Sangamon County for our system.
Any questions for Chief? Alderman Keller? Question?
Thank you, Mayor. We don't have a question necessarily, but can we have all this in writing before we vote on this?
Sure. Yeah,
Thank you.
I can provide all the documents.
Thank you.
Cheryl Hedrick with the county has put down and put together a breakdown of what all the costs were and how we fare on that cost. So,
Thank you, Chief.
You guys okay putting that on the regular agenda for next week?
Yeah.
2 weeks? Yeah. Okay. Regular agenda then for 2 weeks. Thanks, Chief.
thank you.
And Administrator Cavalman, I believe, Mr. Parrott, did you have something? Go ahead.
Yes. Last Tuesday, Walt and we had a meeting with American Water and with Ameren, a joint meeting. We were talking about some site utilities, some entrance considerations for the yard waste site out there for the projects that are going to be going on. And we had a great discussion with them, getting some more insight. One thing I wanted to point out also is that, and Walt, maybe you can help me remember, but Gabriel Bowden is going to be leaving American Water, and I believe it's soon.
Yes.
Tomorrow morning, actually, he's
Yeah.
leaving.
I thought it was the end of the month here, and so he's done wonderful for the city. It's been good to work with him, and he's been a great person to have in Lincoln. I believe he's going to be moving out of state, but just wanted to just recognize him and the work that he's done out there, for us, and just give him props for that.
Yeah, Gabe's always easy to work with. Pick up a phone and he'll call you right back. So definitely we'll miss working with Gabe.
Just a couple of things out there that they are considering while they're going to be doing the work. They're going to have another entrance put in. I think, Walt, we're going to get another building, perhaps, just a temporary building for our workers out there coming into a different direction. They're going to be maybe making the apron just a little bit bigger, I think, than what was agreed upon, but I think it's going to benefit the city. And just a couple other things as well. So, Walt, anything else you want to add to that?
I would just like to comment on Gabe again. You guys said it very well that he's been an asset to us. I believe today was his last day here in town at the office, and he'll be ending his tenure there at Illinois American Water here by the end of the month. So we do appreciate his service and the things he's helped us out with for sure. And I think Steve covered everything pretty well as far as the meeting went. The building would be the attendance shack that he spoke of. Basically, the shack that is there now is almost right within the scope of what work they need to do and some of the utility work that has to go on. So we'll be getting a new attendance building, and it'll be moved over a little bit away from the project itself. The temporary gate is basically going to be installed to the west of the new the old the gate that is there now, and part of that purpose is so they can put the new entrance in, the new gate system and everything else going in to the facility, the main entrance. And then the temporary gate will stay there just in case something happens and they have to work on utilities and different things, and they may have to be in the way, so we'll have an alternate entrance so the citizens can still get into the facility and use it.
And Walt, I think that's going to be happening this fall, and that entrance is going to be used for what, a couple of years before the project's finished?
I don't think it'll be that long. This fall, they're hoping for the bids for the project to go out this fall, and if I remember correctly, maybe some of the work starting in the winter. I think the completion date was in 2021, I believe, or it could have been 2022. I can't remember exactly without looking at my notes. But it's going to go on for a while. But we're looking forward to some of the upgrades that we're going to get at the facility, and try to make it just a nicer place overall, and more user friendly for the citizens.
All right, thank you. And Beth, I believe you wanted to speak to the council about the cures ordinance?
Yes, I had a meeting this morning, and then we've been updated as we go along. Tomorrow, the portal will open. Can you understand me? I'm kind of... Tomorrow, the portal will open where we will have about 3 different times where we can input expenses. So any expenses that you still might have that you haven't gotten to me, please send them, email them. Everything that goes in has to be done digitally. So we have to send it that way through the scanner. They want the PO, purchase order. They want a brief description of how it's related to COVID, and it's going to be really good for us, I think. I've had another couple conversations later after that this morning, and one of them is they are still thinking about what we were talking about our parklets, our streeteries, and getting money for that so that we could help our citizens and our businesses, especially if some of these things are going to be closed down, the restaurants and the bars, because of, as they're doing up in Will County and Kankakee. So that's pretty scary. We've got to be ready, and I think they're recognizing that event. So This is where Alderman Bateman will be working pretty difficult at first getting all this stuff going, so it'll be nice. It'll be a good thing for the citizens and the businesses.
Thank you, Beth. Okay, does anybody else have anything? Mr. Leith?
Yeah, I just want to take a second to thank everybody. This has been an eye-opening experience, to say the least, as well as a great learning experience. So, once again, I just want to thank everybody for this opportunity.
Thank you for joining us for a short time.
And on that note, Colby, we did get you a plaque to take with you, and I'll read it and then I'll hand it to you. It just says, in recognition of your service to the city of Lincoln as Alderman Ward 2, Colby Lee, thank you for your dedication and commitment to our community, 2020. So, thanks again for your commitment. I can say it's been a pleasure serving with you on the council. I know that you're not the loudest voice on the council, but Colby has been instrumental in the background and working on several efforts. So thank you for your efforts.
Thank you.
Okay.
Sure, I'd like to make a motion to go in executive session under 2C5, purchase or lease of real estate.
Second.
Alderman Hoynicke made the motion. Alderman Keller, second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Keller?
Yes.
Mr. Haneke?
Yes.
Mrs. Horn?
Yes.
Mr. Bateman?
Yes.
Mr. Leith?
Yes.
Mr. Welch?
Yes.
Mr. Parrott?
Yes.
Mr. Downs?
Yes.
Okay, we'll be going into executive session at 7:53. There will be no more city business afterwards.